This show provides a wealth of information about valuable connections between healthy living and wine, compositions, tastings, wine lifestyles, and events that help to integrate wellness and wine into everyday life. Grab a glass or a bottle, sit back, tune in, and thanks for listening. What's up, peeps? This is your girl, JQue. Welcome to another episode of Healthy Living and Wine. This show provides a wealth of information about valuable connections between healthy living and wine, compositions, tastings, wine lifestyles, and events that help to integrate wellness and wine into everyday life. Grab a glass or a bottle, sit back, tune in, and thanks for listening. What's up, peeps? How y'all doing tonight? Yo, welcome to another episode of Healthy Living and Wine. I'm your host, JQue. And listen, this podcast is where conversations, culture, and connection meet over a glass of wine. Now, tonight's theme, rest isn't lazy. It's liberation, baby. It challenges the glorification of the grind and the illusion of balance. We'll be exploring how rest becomes a radical act of self-respect in a world that romanticizes exhaustion. I'd like to take this moment to do a huge thank you to our sponsors who continue to align with the heartbeat of Healthy Living and Wine. Mocktails for Mama, Côte de Femme, and Earthy Auntie. They all join me in partnership for this episode. We're also showing love tonight for Cynthia Daniels and Company because we are going to be sharing details about how you can get VIP tickets to the Black Art and Wine Festival that's happening November 8th in Huntsville, Alabama. So grab your glass, doesn't matter what's in it, wine, water, a mocktail, whatever you have, and settle in for this episode. Now, to get this conversation started, I got a question for you. When was the last time you allowed yourself to truly rest? That's right, rest. Not go to sleep, not chill in front of the TV, but to truly rest. Rest without guilt, without multitasking, without trying to earn it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Dive into the conversation. Now that you know where we're coming from, what we're doing, I am getting ready to pour deep into this conversation. I am bringing a group of queens who are joining me tonight, baby. And their titles, they're only a small part of their story. And as you know, here at Healthy Living and Wine, we like to get to know people beyond their resumes and their titles, the real energy behind their brilliance. So let's get this party started. I am going to bring to the stage tonight one of my dear friends. We just really connected, and it was kind of like, you know what? Like we were like sisters from two different misters, right? And so I'm so excited to bring Micah on with me tonight. What's up, Micah? You got to unmute yourself,
I knew
baby.
it was me. That's so funny.
So, Micah, we can read your bio. We already know, a little bit about you. So here's the question. You are constantly capturing moments of others through your photography, right? But what's one thing you've learned about slowing down, being present in your own story?
Well, honestly, I realized that if I don't take care of me, I can't take care of anyone else. So I really had to just decide what makes me happy. And as you know, your favorite place, my sister has a condo. Um,
Yes.
this is my weekend escape for most days. I always tell her I owe her the world. But yes, she lives in a 5-star resort, and this is my happy place. This is where I spend my time, really just soaking in time for me.
Wow, that's so important. And one of the reasons I brought you in tonight is because, again, I know how busy your life is being a single mom, dealing with all the things that you're dealing with. So I'm so excited to have you in the conversation. Thank
Love
you so
it.
much for
Thank you
joining
for
us
letting me be
tonight.
here.
Yes. All right. So now I'm bringing on someone that I've known for quite some time. Listen, I started my career here in Huntsville, and this woman was the catalyst. And when I say the catalyst, she was the catalyst to help me not only get started, to launch into the confident, holistic practitioner that I am today. I would not even be here if it were not for this woman believing in who I was and taking the journey with me. So welcome, Tasha. How are you tonight?
Hi, love. I'm great. How are you?
Man, let me tell you, make this statement, y'all. I know I must have it going on, because to get this woman on a live on a broadcast is like a feat of miraculousness. And so I count it as a blessing and an honor, Tasha. I appreciate you being here. Everything you bring to the table has always been valuable to my life.
I
So,
appreciate
yes. So, Tasha, you are the greatest, most, influential person when it comes to wellness. My question for you, as we get to know you, is for someone who's poured into so many others, how do you personally protect your peace and prioritize recovery?
That's such a good question. It sounds like a buzzword, and I'm going to say boundaries, but I want to include that not just boundaries with other people, but boundaries with my ego. Like feeling
Ooh,
like I needed to do more to be seen in a certain light. I needed to be everywhere on everything all the time. And that desire, um, it was what I needed recovery from. And
wow.
so I feel like it's a matter of, not feeling guilty when I put my phone on do not disturb. I go to bed at the same time every night. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do my yoga nidra. I'm going to rest on the couch and not call it nothing. I am going to call it recovering. And I think just keeping myself in check has been a lot of it. Just knowing seeking that applause made me exhausted.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, this conversation tonight is going to be so liberating, which is what I really wanted to do. Thank you so much, Tasha. Again, I'm so blessed and honored to have you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So, I'm going to be moving on next to a really cool sister of faith. And when I tell you she's so inspiring, her journey, her life, and the example that she leads is so faith and Christ centered. I'm just, again, honored to have her tonight. Cecilia, welcome to the show, honey boo boo. How are you?
Hello, good evening. I'm doing well. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Yes, honey. Yes, Cecilia. With you, you juggle a lot. When I say a lot, baby, you juggle a lot. And I'm not even just talking about, the work stuff. We're talking about life stuff. So when it comes to everything that all the things that you always show up polished and centered. But when life gets overwhelming for you, what is
Mhm.
the one personal ritual that keeps you grounded?
I mean, you really already said it. It's my faith in God, and when things get overwhelming, because that does happen when you do so many things. Just really slowing down to connect with God, realign with Him, and just listen. Try to listen to what He's saying for that season of my life. Um, that's what really just keeps me grounded. And I believe that, we can't really move forward. We can't even really elevate without first stopping and checking with God and seeing what He's trying to say. And that takes for us to slow down to hear Him.
Wow. Yeah, I know that I've been working on that connection and that faith connection. And just that alone has been a great liberating experience and phase of my life, you know, building that relationship and closeness with him, and recognizing that, you know what, even Jesus rested, even God rested. Your girl got to rest. You feel me? So if I call myself a Christian or I'm trying to be Christ-like, then I need to be Christ-like and get my rest on, be liberated, honey, baby. So thank you so much, Cecilia. Thank you for being on this broadcast tonight, and I truly appreciate you. All right, so next we coming to the table. Let's see, Janet, are you there?
I'm here.
Woo, 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 woo. What's
Hey,
up,
everybody.
Janet? How are you doing tonight?
I'm great.
Baby, I'm especially excited to have you on the panel tonight. Janet and I have known each other for a very long time, and
Been a minute.
been a minute, and we shared our passion for fashion when we first met, and ever since then, baby, we have been connected. And so, Janet, with all that you do, everything that you're involved with, you juggle like family, consulting, everything in between, and you have multiple babies. And I'm not talking about the kids you birth. I'm talking about all the things that you have in your life.
Yeah.
What does rest really mean to you in this season of your life?
Rest to me is the way that I preserve myself. That's very important. Whereas, you know, self-preservation is the first law of nature. And someone very close to me, my mother, when she passed just out of nowhere from seems to be just complete exhaustion, that was my time to just sit back and say, okay, yeah, it's all right to rest. I was, you know, getting burnt out, being in the medical field and everything else, also on top of, you know, being a momager to my kids and their businesses as well as my own. I was just like, you know, it had to take something tragic, you know, to make us just sit back and say, it's time to go ahead and take that time out for me, and it's okay. It just means that's my way to stay here and be here for the ones that love me and to love myself.
Yeah, that's real important. And as women, we all can say that just alone, trying to practice that and finding the space and being intentional about taking care of ourselves is already a hard enough job in itself. You know what I'm saying? And if we're not intentional, whoo, I know when I'm not intentional, I lose sight of myself. And when you lose sight of yourself, woo, it just becomes a whole task.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Janet, for being here tonight and sharing your truth with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. And last but not least, what's up, Kiara? How are you tonight, my dear?
I'm doing good.
You got it all the way together, honey, because you sound fabulous. You sound fabulous. Well, Kiara, Kiara have connected because professionally, we kind of do work in the same type industry. But this young woman is like, when I tell you brilliant, baby, brilliant. Oh, I just love to hear her talk about all of her plans and all the things that she's doing. So intellectual. Kiara, everything you do revolves around creativity and content, right? So what does unplugging look like for you when you need to step away from the screen and just take a breath?
So for me, when I unplug, because I'm on social media so much, I get off. I log off. I'll go to TikTok to watch all the funny things and to catch the animal videos, but I'll sit on my couch and binge watch my favorite show or go to the gym and completely stay off of social media because I do spend so much time creatively pouring into it.
Is that hard for you to do? Like, do you find it hard to literally just unplug? Or do you have to schedule it? Because I know for me, shoot, unplugging is, I got to schedule it.
I probably should. I don't. I don't. When my creative meter just starts to slow down and I have a hard time putting concepts together, that's typically my indication that I need to take a step away from it. And so I don't
Mm.
schedule it as much as I should. I really have to get back into like my self-care Fridays so that it is that scheduled time just to unplug and to do nothing. But that's what I've done previously. I've gotten out of that habit. Previously, I've scheduled it before and it works out miraculous.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. Because, honey, I have tried to just do it. And if I do, and when I am able to spontaneously unplug, it's only for a moment. And so I guess I don't feel like, I fulfill that unpluggedness, if that's a word or if that's a thing, because it's so spontaneous and it's so short lived when it's spontaneous. It's because something canceled or the internet's down or, the app is not working or something like that. So I do find that it's more valuable to me, and I get more out of it when I am intentional about scheduling my unplugged time. Ladies, thank you so much for being here tonight. I love hearing the different ways that each of you define rest. And remember that peace doesn't look the same for everyone. And what matters is that we create the space for being intentional before life forces us to. So now it's time to dive into what we all came in here for tonight, is to get this stuff out here. We're going to dig a little deeper, and we're not just going to be talking about balance, but somewhere along the way, I feel like we started to feel more like balance was a myth than it was a mindset. So our first topic tonight is about the glorification of the grind. And anybody can glorify the grind. I found myself glorifying the grind major when I first started. Hustle culture is still hustle culture. They call it that now. But back in my day, when I was first getting started, it was called grinding. Baby, we were getting out here grinding and hustling. So when we equate our worth to how much we do, I don't think we really are taking in consideration how much we are overwhelming ourselves. So first, let's start with understanding what the grind is, right? We've all heard it. No days off. Hustle harder. So I'll sleep when I'm dead. Somewhere along the way, ambition turned into exhaustion, and getting tired became a status quo. Like, if you're not busy or if you're not booked in busy, then you're not doing nothing. Well, according to American Institute of Stress, and yes, Americans have gotten so bad, and I use Americans because we are the continent in the whole entire planet that has to have an institute for stress, y'all, right? 77% of people report that regular physical symptoms of stress still equate burnout with success. Anybody on the panel, how do you personally recognize when you're grinding like too hard, when your hustle starts to cost everything that you're given?
I'll
Yes,
I'll jump. Oh, I'll jump in on that one really quick.
yes.
And I'm saying it from being on this end, of spending, 2 decades of running back and forth between gyms. I might have 20 classes a week and 5 clients a day, on top of when my children were being raised in. And the grind cost me, and it's still costing me even now that I have slowed down. I've had several surgeries, pushing because I felt like people were counting on me. So 2 shoulder surgeries, an Achilles surgery, a knee surgery. I put off having a hysterectomy, all because I was trying to be present because people needed me.
Wow.
And that being lifted up is addicting. When people enjoy what you do, it's a lie to say we don't get some type of emotional feedback from that. And so, I wasn't sleeping. I started drinking lots of coffee. I didn't start drinking coffee until I was in my 30s. Then it was energy drinks. Then it was fitting in people earlier during the day or teaching classes later. And I will say now, I just turned 50 in July, and being in menopause, all of that grinding has now reflected itself in my hormones. So when I finally slowed down, my body went crazy because it didn't know what to do in a state of rest.
Wow.
And so trying to come back from that is physically challenging because I'm used to being in my fitness body, you know, but emotionally, it was feeling like I couldn't survive unless I was out in front making it do what it do. And that feeling turned into trying to now recover from needing to be everything for everybody all of the time. So, you know, sickness, I have taught with bronchitis, with pneumonia, you know, I have been through everything. Cry in the car, suck it up, put some lip gloss on and get in there and teach that class, ma'am, you know. And there is even younger people, and I'm just saying, you may not pay for it when you're in it, but it will catch up with you in one way or the other. Anxiety, depression, it just shows up in so many different ways.
You know, it's funny you say that, Tasha, because we glorify exhaustion. We wear it like it's a proof of our purpose. Like if you're not tired, you know, if you're not booked and busy, and I know, Micah, you hear this all the time, you know, especially working in photography, you're never not booked or you're never could not be busy, right? But you know, understanding the difference between working with a drive and working on empty is sometimes really, really hard. How do you separate the two?
Well, she said it. I mean, I think number one, it's you get sick. It's going to catch up to you. You may, in my 20s, I started this business at 21. I had a young 3-year-old. I have in my 40s now, I'm paying for it. She said it. I once shot a wedding with my gallbladder rupturing because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. I'm a people pleaser. No is not in my vocabulary. I was raised by 2 amazing parents who were also very successful in their careers. I don't know how not to be. So I was trained to be this way. But she said it perfectly. You one day are going to pay for it. You have to find balance. You have to find what is going to make me happy isn't just money. And that's kind of where I was. It took me 19 years to actually be like, okay, no is okay. Focus on you. You have to put yourself first and your kids. That's it. And now I've gotten better at it. But as a single mom, you got to pay the bills. So I pay the bills, but I don't need to be rich. That's not going to make me happy.
Wow. You know, that is kind of like this day and age. What we don't realize is we equate our worth to how much we do. People determine whether you're worth something based on what you do and how much money you make. But how do we break that cycle? You know, outside of getting sick or being forced into do it. How do we break the cycle of the stigma of equating exhaustion or being busy to your value or your worth and how much you do? Cecilia?
I was going to say, you know, we should be finding our worth and our identity in Christ so that when all of these things are happening and you're overwhelmed and your body is telling you, you know, it goes back to the validation thing. If we're finding validation and people pleasing and all of these things, the culture, you know, we're always going to find ourselves in like, am I good enough? Did I do enough and everything? But, you know, God has really taught me, and especially in these past couple of years, that we have to find our validation and our identity in Him. And those things, they'll affect us, you know, but they don't affect us as bad.
Yeah, I also feel the same way. I know that my validation does come from my faith. It does come from, you know, how often I am connected to Christ. But if I'm truly being authentic and I'm being very transparent, you know, there's a difference in working with a drive and working on empty. One builds your momentum and the other one breaks you down. Actually, it kind of reminds me as well, as we spoke on this in a previous episode called Push, Pivot, and Pause, where the tension between moving in purpose and moving in pressure. It's the same pattern. It just we just address it differently. We call it the grind, but there's still the feeling of being afraid to slow down because we might either lose momentum or we might lose progress. Kiara, I know that with you, when you log off, or especially being a content creator, you know, the socials is a part of our income. It's a part of how we flow in the world, how we're able to get somewhere. Do you ever feel like maybe you're missing out on, you know, the progress or the momentum, even when you're forced to slow down, or even when you intentionally have to log off?
I used to, but not anymore. The thing about the internet is that we've gotten so used to having so much access to things that we shouldn't, that we think that that's supposed to be our normal way of life, and we forget to live and be in the moment. And so my perspective is essentially that if I wasn't there to see it online, it wasn't meant for me to see. I'm not missing out on anything because I'm living in the present moment of what's around me and enjoying life from behind my camera, away from
How
my
did you get
camera.
there though? Yeah, I mean, how do we get there? And we all can talk about it now because we are over the hump in this
Hmm.
particular season. But trust, the hump will be back and we have to get over it every time. I find myself getting over the hump different ways each time the hump is presented, because every time I get to that hump, it's a different challenge for me to get over it.
When it became a point
Yeah,
of
I know.
frustration, yeah, when it became a point of frustration, it made me realize I needed to kind of step back and take away, change my perspective, really, because something that I would find enjoyment in should never be a point of frustration. And you mentioned it earlier, is trying to navigate life through that before you get to that point by simply scheduling time to take a break. And so I found myself getting very frustrated and very agitated and just lacking creativity on things that I know that I love to do. And so I had to learn boundaries within myself to just take a step away to schedule time to rest.
Yeah, that's important. I mean, based on a survey, and I did a lot of research on this topic because right now it is a major situation with our health where
Mhm.
stress is really taking us out. Research says that 42% of professionals feel burnout often, but they don't do anything about it. So, if rest is really supposed to recharge us, why so many people avoid it or they feel guilty about taking rest? You know, I mean, one of our audience members said that, and I'm going to put this up. Dawn, thank you for sharing. Dawn says she had a counselor one time that asked her, why is she taking vacation from her job, y'all, to clean her house? You're taking a vacation from the thing that is stressing you out to go do something else that requires physical stress to clean your own house, y'all. I mean, rest is supposed to be the place where you recharge. We take vacation so we can get away from the stress, so we can literally rest our minds, rest our hearts, our bodies from the normal everyday stresses that we do. But and I used to feel guilty, y'all. I used to feel guilty about resting or not doing anything, like, oh my God, I know I should be doing something productive right now, but I'm exhausted. And when I did take that rest, it was because of exhaustion. It was literally like Tasha said, because I was sick, I was injured, something forced me into do it. It wasn't like I said, you know what? I am going to rest today and I'm going to feel good about it. And it's going to happen for the whole day or for as long as I need to recharge. Why do we feel like it has to be something that, you know, why are we even feeling some type of way about resting?
because of how we were
Anybody.
raised. Because of how we were raised. I think watching, you know, my mom, the things that she did, like she still thinks it's funny that people have like, Instapots and when she would cook, for 4 hours on Sunday. And, we had been told that rest equated to laziness. And laziness
Mm,
was something that we didn't want to be. And so even, we try to say we're asleep, so we're resting. And most of us aren't even resting when we're asleep. We don't know
facts.
how to sit still. And when we sit still, we need social media to keep us busy. And then we lay down and we can't sleep because our anxiety is running crazy. And so we're running on empty no matter what. And so I just think that it's the stigma of, for me, I know just the life around me and being raised in magnet schools my whole life, you are to be on it. Like you said, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Like I have to get this
Yeah.
done because that somehow equaled my worth or made me a good person, so to speak. No one wants to be lazy. And I think we're just in that season of redefining that and taking the word rest back.
Yeah, it's funny you say that too, because based on statistics, people are considering that their obsession over being booked and busy is really about validation, y'all. Like, if you're booked and you're busy, that means you valid at something. But if you're taking a break, or if you decide to, back down on your schedule and not take as many clients, Tasha, like she said, we used to teach 22 classes in a week, and our week was like Sunday to Saturday, 22 classes, y'all. Burnout, not, and that was just the classes. That didn't include the clients, the other job that we had to do, running behind our kids, all the community stuff we had to do. But it was like, I know for me, I felt like I had to do that just to become valid as a health person, as a wellness person. Because if I wasn't doing all of those things, then people would not say, okay, yes, JQue is a professional at this, or yes, boom, she is really a holistic practitioner. What's the feedback on the validation of being booked and busy? Janet?
Well, you know me.
I know. That's why I led this question right to you.
Yes, ma'am. I'll just say you have to have self-value first. And once you value
Ooh,
yourself, everything else, it doesn't matter. And I find my value in the Most High and in the way my children love me and the ones that matter love me. Um, and somehow, some way, everybody else just follows suit. It starts with you.
yeah. I think that's so important. I recognize as well that I had to be the one to be the catalyst for my own change. We've dived into peeling back the layers of the hustle culture, glorifying the grind. But what we don't often talk about is balance, right? We say, oh, I'm trying to find the balance, like it's a destination. Like one day we're going to arrive there and we're going to stay there. Like it's an island of balance that we get there and then all of a sudden we're balanced and, oh, right? But in real life, for me, balance feels more like a moving target. Like it's always shifting. Like in every season, there's a new responsibility, or maybe there's even a new expectation. In 2024, research studies found that more than 80% of working adults saw that they struggled to maintain a work-life balance. Yet most of them admit that they don't even know what balance looks like for them anymore. When you hear the word balance, what does that really mean to you? And what do you think? Is it really achievable? Do you really feel like that we can really achieve balance, Micah?
I do. Yeah. I'm so
How?
weird though. I am very extroverted. So like my brother owns a restaurant and I have like 20 kids there. That actually to me is it builds my strength. I'm very weird. I get peace out of that. And my mom gets so mad. She's like, "You are exhausted. Why are you working at the restaurant?" I'm like, "I need this. Like this feeds me." I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm saying like I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's the validation from it that I'm searching. I don't know. But I
Wow,
think
I
there's
understand
balance.
that.
I think it's balance. I think as long as I am paying my bills and I am being a good mom and I am working and yeah, I'm giving back to my brother's restaurant and making sure these kids are good, that feeds me in some way and I'm happy. So if I'm happy, then I guess if I die, then we'll know. I'm not taking care of
We're not gonna say that, girl, because what you just said is true. Balance is
I
really
love
just
it.
about
It
food,
feeds me.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
It makes me happy.
Most people think that balance is like a 50-50, but a balancing thing may mean like one side has more depending on its, density. So I think I use the word balance, but for me, when I say balance, I really mean alignment. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm not looking for anything to be 50-50. But when we think about recalibration and when life starts tipping too far in one direction, it's hard for us to think about alignment. A puzzle is about alignment. Not every piece is made the same, but when the pieces are together and they're aligned properly, then we're in balance. What do you guys think helps to recalibrate, or what do you do to find balance or alignment when things are all over the place and out of sort for you?
Well, I want to piggyback off of what Micah said. Whatever sparks joy, what makes you feel good. You might seem like you're being like a busybody or you're doing too much when you're, exhausted. But if it's bringing some type of joy, that's feeding your soul and essentially balancing you from, you know, the strain in the
Yeah.
everyday life. So
Yeah.
I just think always find something that makes you just, bring that spark back. And that's how you keep the balance.
That's interesting that you say that, because sometimes what we may feel balance is, it's not equal parts. It is something that helps to bring you into that alignment, something that helps you bring that joy. And that ties perfectly back into, that credit, clout, and character situation. We talk about the difference between our reputation and what our reality is, and balance works the same way. It's not always about how it looks on the outside, but it's how we feel grounded. And that's different for every single person. Tasha, how do you find balance, and what does balance mean for you?
I actually surrendered the term balance because
Me
honestly,
too.
when I was holding up one thing, something else was dropping. I may have been teaching a bomb class at 5:30, but that meant I was missing my son's football game. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so when you said alignment, that resonated because finding that alignment means that I don't say yes to everything. Just because the opportunity comes across my desk doesn't mean I have to say yes. It doesn't matter how many followers I might get. It doesn't matter who's going to repost me. If it doesn't feel right and align with my values, which have changed over the years,
Mm-hmm.
my value and what I want to offer to the world, it is I think it's one of Shonda Rhimes, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no.
There's no maybe.
Yeah, and when something aligns with your spirit. And yeah, the whole concept of balance, I just threw it out of the window because I was dropping the ball on something to hold something else. So I love that you said alignment because I think that's really the key.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I threw out, as far as a focus for me, balance during COVID, because COVID really helped me understand that alignment was a better way for me to think about it than it was for balance. Because the same thing for you, Tasha, when I was trying to get one thing and giving it more to the other, it was still making me tilt this, that, and the other. But when I started learning how to piece this one into that one and, set the alignment up for a flow, that helped me feel much better about balancing everything I had in my life. With that being said, what are some of the areas in your life that have been the hardest for you to balance or align? And what do you think that revealed to you about your priorities, Cecilia?
I sure had a feeling you was about to call on me. I feel like I'm in class. We're all ladies here, so I'll bring this up. I feel in this season of my life, it's been really hard to balance like my love life, my romantic
Yes.
life.
Girl, yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad everybody's on the same page. Yeah, you know, and man, it's hard out here because, you know, being faith-minded, it's hard to find someone who aligns in that way. And so I've kind of just threw that out the window for now, and I keep my eyes fixed on God. I'm like, okay, God, I'm gonna just do what you're telling me to do, and
Girl.
you'll find me eventually.
Yeah, that's like one of the hardest things to do. Shoot, that's real because imbalance or unalignment often exposes what we value.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even when we don't mean to. You feel me? Even when I didn't mean to, you know, expose myself in certain ways, it was because I was out of alignment. It was because I was out of balance that people started to recognize the things that I didn't even think I was allowing them to see. You know, and so when we talk about that, sometimes imbalance isn't failure. I feel like it's feedback. I had to learn that when I'm out of alignment, I had to sit and chill and rest to really be able to consume or really be able to wrap my mind around the priorities that were keeping me from being balanced or keeping me from being aligned. You know, and when we think about being out of alignment or being unbalanced, sometimes we have to give ourselves grace to grow without the guilt of being off-centered,
Mhm.
the guilt of not being completely aligned or where we want to be in our lives. You know, balance might not be stillness for everybody. It might just be the movement that's measured with intention. So I stopped chasing. And when I stopped chasing, shoot, the way we live, the way we love, the way we lead, I feel like it becomes a little more simple for us to stay in alignment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tasha. I think that the balance and the alignment, I think they're really different, you know, in this season of my life. Now, if you would have asked me that 10 years ago, baby, it was all about balance, 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 balance. I probably didn't even know the word alignment then. It was trying to make sure everything had the same amount of time and the same amount of attention. You know, I had to give this, I had to do this, I could only work here, I had to do this, I had to figure out that. And that in itself was driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Lord.
Maturity. I think maturity is everything. My
Yes.
40s, I know so much. I'm like, could I just be 40 in my 20s?
What you say, girl? Would you? And
It's
you know,
maturity. It really is. Look at us. I mean, like, you ask a 20-year-old these questions, it's going to be totally different. Like,
Yeah.
it just
yeah,
proves it takes maturity to realize these things. None of us were like this in our 20s. We were goal driven. We wanted these things. This was something that we were going to get. But that's why I waited later to have kids. I mean, I wanted to be sure that she wasn't a workaholic.
oh, I know that's right, baby. Because it does work. It does kind of go off on our kids, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about the grind. We've talked about balance and alignment. I think now we need to talk about the reward that comes when we finally stop trying to prove something and we realize that rest is not a retreat. It's actually part of recovery. And every day, you guys, we wake up and we end our day or we do the things that we do in the day. We require recovery. So many of us, liberation sounds like a huge, big, dramatic shift, right? I want to be liberated. I've got to be liberated, you know, kind of like, you know, power to the people or some movement that has to happen in order for us to understand what it is. But sometimes I find liberation in small things, sleeping in without guilt. Like Micah said, saying no without explaining anything. Something as simple as choosing my peace over what everybody has said tonight, people pleasing. Shoo, when I took people pleasing off the table, I felt like alignment was like zip, zip. Like immediately some of the things that were out of balance just was like, oh, thank you. Finally, JQue. You stop all that people pleasing mess. Life kind of just really just got, no, I can't say a little, got like that much simpler, right? Maybe not all the way, but it definitely opened me up. In 2024, a study found that nearly 8 out of 10 adults said that they don't feel emotionally free. You don't feel emotionally free. And even when they look at their lives, they don't consider themselves emotionally stable or experience any type of liberation in their life. That says a lot. That says a lot, you guys, about how we confuse survival with peace. So when you hear the word liberation, what do you think that looks like for you right now? Janet?
Rest is liberation. And
Well,
I'm
yeah. But what does that
I'm
look like? I mean, is rest for you sleep? Is it
it's
chilling on the
definitely
beach?
it's definitely sleep. It's being able to make my own schedule. Lord.
Yes.
Yes.
And just yeah, that's the liberation to me, to be able to make my own schedule mainly. And just say I'm not gonna do that today. Like that's major. Like she
That is
said,
major.
10
I
years
mean,
ago, that would have been really hard to just say no and I can't make it. I can't, I just can't be a part of whatever. Now you're doing good to get me, so doing real good to get me.
on facts, baby, you got to get in the schedule. You got to send me an
Yes.
email 2 or 3 times. I got to make sure I really want to do it before
Yeah.
I even confirm, all of those things. But
Yeah.
again, that comes out of maturity. Like Micah said, it comes
Exactly.
out of living life, having
Yep.
those kind of
Yep.
experiences. When we think about rest and liberation, do you think they go hand in hand outside of killing? Do you think we can actually be liberated without having rest or without having alignment or without having the hustle culture? Is it through our finances? Is it through our lifestyle? I know everybody has a space where the liberation feels different. Kiara, what's your liberation space looking like?
For me, it's in setting boundaries with myself and with others and not being afraid to say no. COVID taught me a lot of valuable lessons in my openness to just because I could, I did, because I was available, I would. And that got taken advantage of, and I was exhausted. And that's all because I like boundaries. And so when I learned to set boundaries with myself, with my others, and ultimately to be more assertive, it changed a lot for me. It's like I found my voice in a way.
Wow. Yeah. Finding your voice is important. What about you, Cecilia? How do you feel liberated? How do you define liberation?
I think it's just, like you said, being in alignment with what God has for me to do in that season. It keeps changing, and I'm like constantly trying to figure out, okay, God, we're still doing this. We're moving on to the next thing. But what's liberating, just knowing that no matter what it is, He's good. He provides. Everything's going to be okay, and that's liberating for me.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm a faith-based woman too, but I had to get there. And some days I'm not. Some days, y'all, just straight transparency. Some days I have to be like, dude, God, what's up? You feel me? I mean, literally like, yo, I'm doing all the things. I'm reading my Bible. I'm praying. I'm going to church, whatever, this week I'm not drinking. All the things I feel like I'm doing so I can reach this space of liberation, alignment, balance, and I don't have to adopt to this hustle culture. But it doesn't always happen, y'all. Even at my age, I'm over the hump of 50, well over it. And even at my age, in my mature state, Micah, in all the things that I've done, I'm able to say, no, Kiera, separate, turn it off, disconnect.
Yeah.
Even in all of that, sometimes it is still very, very hard, y'all, for me to reach or feel like I'm in control of that liberation space for me. Tasha, what about you?
I think liberation is standing 10 toes down in who I am right now.
Mhm.
Ooh,
I
that's good.
think that I suffered from grieving the life that I used to have. 10 years ago, I was married. I had 2 kids at home. I wasn't working in an office. And I think trying to hold on when God is moving me forward, is what kept me stuck. And so liberation, like this is where my life is right now, and owning the decisions that I make and being okay with that. I do think that rest is part of it because it's hard to fight for the life you want when you're exhausted.
That's deep.
It's it's, it's really hard.
Mhm.
So learning to be instead of do has been a huge game changer for me.
Ooh, that is so important. The be part, the just being part. I'm still trying to master that. Yo, just being like, I really practice it, and it's in my schedule because I learned myself a long time ago that if I'm not intentional with my time, all the things that I really want to do won't happen in time, right?
Mhm.
And so I have to be really intentional. So when I am practicing, when I have set aside the time and I'm being intentional about liberating myself, resting and recovery, I have to even, I got to add 30 minutes just so I can get myself to the space in the mental capacity to be liberated, to rest, to shut everything off. I mean, I got to go through a whole ritual. Okay, turn the music. All right, turn off the TV. Okay, take this shower. While you're in the shower, close your eyes, say your prayers. There has got to be a whole ritual, y'all, for me just to even get to the space of being intentional about recovery, intentional about being liberated, intentional about being free or connecting to my divine, entity. I don't know about you guys, but do you have any rituals that you have to practice in order to actually put yourself in that space? Yeah, I see you shaking, Tasha. You care to share what some of those are?
Yes. Some of it is one of the things, again, on top of my health and wellness, I have a full-time job. And I have chosen to meditate before I go to work to get into the right mind space and to meditate after work so that I can disconnect, from what that was. I set my phone to go on do not disturb at the same time every night. I get my tea. I'm going to sip. I'm going to change my lighting in my house to start signaling my body
Mm-hmm.
that it is time to come out of this,
Yes.
and I find that rituals can retrain your brain,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, they can absolutely retrain your brain. I actually recommend them, whether it's sniffing some lavender or, turning on the heat, before you go something that signals you that it is time for you to wind down, even if you're not used to doing it, that signal just begins to bring you down. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
here.
Y'all, according to the American Psychological Association, people who regularly practice rest based routines report 74% higher focused, better emotional health, and stronger resilience. 74%. I mean, that's proof that peace, y'all, actually improves performance. And rest, it does not take away from your productivity, it really powers it. I find that when I take a break from something that I'm really just driving in, when I'm in that space where I got to finish or be really productive, when I take a rest, and I'm intentional about letting not just the physical rest from it, but the mental rest from it, when I get back to it, I'm like a beast. You know, I'm like the thing that I was stuck on in that moment somehow just seems like an easy little train ride over the tracks. I mean, I don't know how that works. I know God is always working in my favor, but baby, there is so much joy. There's so much that gives back to you when we are intentional about resting. So y'all, I know this conversation is super juicy, but before we close, I want to turn the mirror just a little bit. I'm going to play a little game. This is called Sip or Skip, the Liberation Edition, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw out some real situations that test how we really feel and how we really free ourselves. And if it's something that you would do without hesitation, I'm talking, if I say go jump out a window, if you jumping out a window would be something that you do without hesitation, then take a sip of whatever you're drinking on tonight. Okay. Now, if it's something that you got to think about it, and when I say think about it, if I say it and you be like, ooh, that means you got to think about it, then don't take a sip, skip. No explanations, no disclaimers, just real truth. If you are watching us live and you're joining the conversation, you can do the same. If it's something that you can do without hesitation, take a sip and give us a thumbs up. If it's something that you think you got to think twice about, I'm talking when I make the statement, if you got, don't make a sip, put a thumbs down. All right, everybody ready? Got your glasses in hand? All right, let's do this. All right, so the first one is letting someone else take the credit for your work just to keep your peace. Are you skipping or sipping? Ooh, that was totally fixed. Baby, listen, I'm without hecitation.
No, Cecilia, no.
Yes, Cecilia said.
Yara, we have to teach them.
I know, right? Okay, here's the next one. Taking a full day off, the entire 24 hours, when you know your inbox is overflowing and you have a deadline.
I live at the beach.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
My piece is expensive.
Oh, Ashley said, oh, she definitely can't do that yet.
I'll teach you, Ashley. I'll teach you.
All right, our next one. Oh, this one is a really good one for me, especially. Telling your family that you cannot make it to the Christmas dinner because you want and need quiet. I need to take 2 or 3 sips on that one.
My excuse is I have to work.
Okay. All right. We'll do 2 more. Showing up for brunch 30 minutes late and not apologizing.
Oh no.
I'm not ever late.
Me either.
Oh, lucky you.
I may be late.
Really?
I may be late, but I'm gonna definitely apologize.
Okay, me too. I mean,
Gina, you didn't drink.
Who didn't drink?
You said you will apologize, Janet?
No, I'll apologize.
Oh, Janet will apologize.
Yeah. So last
Because
one,
I'm probably going to be late.
okay, she said she's gonna be late, so she already.
It's okay.
All right, here's the next one. This one is canceling your plans that you made for the last 6 months with your girls last minute because your energy is just not there.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll just have to suck up that financial loss because I feel like I cannot go and give the energy I even need to get what I need out of that trip.
And you're not in a good mood, you better come.
See?
You better come.
Oh my God, y'all. It's so weird how, it sounds really playful, everything that we just did. But it also tells us the truth about where we still hold on and where we can finally let go. It's funny how the small things that we feel like freedom, and maybe that's the lesson, you know? Maybe liberation doesn't always look like a huge moment. Sometimes it's just the little decisions that remind us that we are definitely in control of our own peace and our own liberation, right? Y'all, it has been so great to have you with me tonight. The conversation has been fulfilling. And because when we stop glorifying the grind, we stop chasing balance, what's left is just grace to be. So, as we close tonight's episode, everybody take a breath, take a sip, and remember rest isn't being lazy, it's a form of liberation, right? Yes,
Toast.
man. Toast to that. Clink,
Yes.
clink, clink, clink.
Yes.
Well, folks, it's a wrap. That's right. It is a wrap. Woo, 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 woo. Yeah. Thank you all so much for tuning in today for another episode of Healthy Living in Wine. From glorification of the grind to the myth of balance, and finally, what it really means to live liberated in real time, we've peeled back a lot of layers on how rest, ambition, and alignment truly connect us. And I think for me, the biggest takeaway is that rest is not about stopping something, it's really about sustaining. It's also not about the absence of movement, but it is the intentional presence of peace. Before we close, I do need to take a moment to celebrate our partnerships with our sponsors. It's because of them that these conversations are possible. Thank you to Mocktails for Mommy, Quotes de Femme, and Earthy Auntie for tonight's collaboration. And I cannot forget to mention we are teaming up with Cynthia Daniels for our 8th in Huntsville. I mean, on November 8th in Huntsville for the Black Arts Wine Festival. Now, check out our Instagram page because we are giving away 2 VIP tickets to that festival. Listen, I went last year. It was the first time I had it in Huntsville, and I had a ball. I usually always have a ball anytime I do something. But
Right.
this was an exception because it was on the river. It was at the Riverside Event Center. It was kind of new, and it was all focused on Black art and Black wine culture. So it was really a great way for people to connect to the culture of Black people and what we're doing for our community. It is open to anyone, and I encourage you guys to go to the Instagram page at healthy living underscore and underscore wine and register for the giveaway. Tonight is the last night, and we are giving away. We'll make the announcement tomorrow at 12 noon. Y'all, ladies, queens, I really appreciate you guys. You have been incredible guests tonight. Thank you so much for showing up with honesty, humor, and heart. I would love for each one of you to go around the room, share one sentence or one reflection from tonight's conversation. And when you do that, also don't forget to let our audience know how they can connect with you. We're going to kick it off with Cecilia.
There was something Tasha said, and I'm trying to remember the exact words.
It's all good, girl. Paraphrase it.
She was just talking about how you really can't like push forward if you're not your authentic self. And I'm trying to place the words, but it was really, really good. It resonated with me. But thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it. I actually learned a lot from you ladies just in a little bit of time. So that was really great. You can find me on social media at Inspired by CC Marie.
Inspired by CC Marie. Thank you so much, CC. Janet, you're gonna be next, honey. Share with us, one reflection or something that you took with you tonight, and let the audience know how they can connect with you.
Rest, to me, and what I learned from being here tonight is how you can be so successful and you can make it over those humps in life. But if you're not rested and you're not authentic to yourself, then it doesn't matter. And I just wanted to end by saying that rest doesn't make you lazy, it makes you ready.
Yeah.
And we need to always
Ooh.
be ready for anything,
Ooh.
especially in this
Woo.
day and time.
Yes.
Baby, yes.
Yeah.
Now tell us how we can connect with you, Janet, because baby, somebody gonna want to connect after that.
You
um,
know.
you can find me on IG. I'm not really on there that much, but I'm trying to do better. At no, my kids get on to me, but at no photos, please, and that's spelled NOFOTOE, please.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And listen to
Thank
the
you.
audience that's looking for those connection things. You know, everything is always a loop around. The ladies will enter their connected information into the comments under this live so you'll be able to go and search that. Micah, share with us tonight something that, you know, reflected or that you're taking away for this conversation and how we can connect with you.
Well, I am single and dating, and Cecilia said something that really put chill bumps all over my arms. And she said something that she really focuses on is the season God has called for her. And I have really struggled with that because it's like I live at the beach, I have the perfect life, minus being a single mom. And I just feel God saying, just be still. And, you know, Cecilia said something, it just got me. And it's like, I need to be thankful for what I have and be still and focus on the season of life. So thank you, Cecilia. But
Nice.
you can find me on Instagram. It's Micah Everett, and I'd be spilling the tea on there, y'all. It's real interesting.
And she really does be spilling the tea. Okay.
TM.
Tasha, share with us your reflection and how folks can connect with you tonight.
I have a favorite quote that actually came to mind about just standing in your own truth and knowing what it is that you need and not being able to go against the norm. And it is an Audre Lorde quote that says, "If I didn't define myself for myself, I'd be crushed into other people's fantasies for me and eaten alive."
Oof.
Whoa.
And so it is to know what I need and be okay putting myself first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. And how can people connect with you?
I am usually on Instagram, and my Instagram handle is I am Tasha Edwards.
Nice. Definitely. Most definitely. Cecilia, did I already do you?
Yes, you did.
Who I got? Oh, Kiara. What's up, Kiara?
Hey,
Come on,
girl.
next. Let us know a reflection from tonight and then how we can connect with you.
Tasha's quote just kind of took my mind off my previous reflection. Before I was going to say everything that you said about alignment, because I don't really believe that balance is a thing. I believe that prioritizing is. And so your comments about alignment and everything surrounding that topic is really what stood out to me, in addition to the quote that Tasha just gave us. But you can find me, I'm primarily on Instagram at im.keyinspires.
Nice. And you know what? We have some great audience members out there tonight. And I wanted to highlight that what Kim and what we all said tonight is that, we need to be putting ourselves first. And that right there is what we all need to be focusing on. If we put ourselves first and we really think about what we need individually, then I think that it will be much easier for us to be liberated, for us to have our focus on our rest. You feel me? And to get ourselves out of this hustle culture. To our audience, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Your energy, your comments, everything, your continued support for this conversation. It helps. It keeps the conversation flowing. And most importantly, it keeps the wine flowing. So if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you like, share, comment. I love hearing your reflections, and I like continuing the conversation with you as well. Now, before we do our toast tonight, I do want to leave us with a mentally challenging question. It is not for anyone to answer, publicly. You can if you want to, but it really is just for you to generate an inner thought and hopefully move into action. What would your life look like if rest wasn't something you had to earn? If it was something that you were allowed, something that you were intentional about? Think about that as you move through your week. And don't think about it with guilt, but think about it as allowing yourself grace to be in rest and alignment, because that is your right. Thank you for joining me tonight. Be encouraged that healthy living and wine can coexist beautifully when balance, alignment, intention, and moderation are a part of the pour. So it's time to close this bad boy out. Let's get our glasses up. No matter what you're drinking, you out there in the internet world, all our audience, our special guests, raise your glasses. And I'm going to do a special toast tonight. I think I usually do, a toast to all these different things. But tonight, I think I'm going to keep it relative. I'm going to say, here's to rest that restores us, peace that protects us, and the kind of liberation that lasts eternally, right? Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes. Thank you all so much for joining us. Have a good night.